Okay, cool. So I just want to show sort of the easy, medium, hard version of creating an AR data visualization to post onto social media. So the hardest version is this one that I'm showing on my screen, which is that you have multiple cameras in the same scene and you are behind the content, actually hosting it, talking it through, clicking it through. You could make this harder by actually having many people in the scene, which you can do and we have done. So you can have multiple people, multiple phones, multiple devices in the same scene, all looking and recording the same thing. And I can go through some examples of that. Now, the reason it's more difficult is because you have more than one person and you also have the audio. The audio is sort of one of the harder aspects of this actually, because the person that's recording the scene is ultimately the video that you're going to use, but the audio captured from that is typically not that great. And so I usually merge the audio from my actual phone that I'm holding. I just have a recording on that as well. And so I just take the audio off of the phone that I'm holding, and that ends up working a lot better. So that's sort of one small little trick there, but just to describe sort of that case. Now, another way to do this is with OBS or like a screen sharing software, since everything works just on a background similar to how I'm presenting to you today. You could create videos like this that it's very easy to do, where you just have it behind you and you're talking through it, sort of more of like the news reporter style. And then the last version is just holding a camera and walking through it. And surprisingly, the easiest to do requires just you and walking through. You can actually record the audio narration after the fact as well. It doesn't have to necessarily be, right at the moment you're recording. So that opens up a lot of, opportunity to experiment, explore, and, test new things. So anyways, I'll go through those different versions, but I just want you to be aware that you don't need to always jump necessarily to the one where you're in the scene. But I do think it's extremely powerful, but does take a bit more practice, just in my opinion. So any questions there before I dive in, or were there any specific situations or things you had questions about? And I'm happy to make sure to cover those as I go through today.
Yeah, I have a question here. I'm Paul Epping. I'm from the Netherlands, calling in from the Netherlands.
Oh, wonderful.
And I started with Flow to visualize 3D visualization of data from surveys that I'm doing. And I don't know if there is room today for talking about it. So that I would like to know what kind of data set is proper for this kind of visualizations. I expected that I did not expect this kind of meeting, so I'm happy to hang in here. Because this is kind of a theme that you are now going through. This case is AR and XR, or virtual reality. And maybe that is a next step for me, but for now it's how to get the data in the 3D rendering.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's a great question. So the since I'm going to be focused a little bit more on the augmented reality portion, so we do have a breakout room. So Sierra created room 1, and she's hanging out there.
Okay.
If you can click onto that breakout room,
yes,
she should be able to help you individually get going. And if anyone else has questions more on the data upload process or any of that, I'd recommend that. But yeah, thanks, Paul. I think Paul jumped over. Okay, cool. So yeah, so how we're going to run this is essentially to do a little bit of role play with everybody. So what we're going to do is essentially go through a few scenes, and we're just going to do it live. That I'm presenting AR video on phone, and you will be my camera person the first go around, and then second go around we'll switch, and you guys will all be the presenters, then I will be the camera person. So we're sort of going to mimic that, and hopefully that practice will help allude to sort of the tips and tricks along the way. So the first thing to really understand about AR and VR, or this whole sort of continuum, is size. I think that's the one thing I started to appreciate after I built all these, of how big is the thing, because it actually matters when it's in your room, how big it is. And so not only how big is it, but where does it sit? And so if I go into edit flow, there's just an important section I want to make sure to cover, and that is within settings. So within settings, and I'll zoom it in a little bit, you'll notice that there's two fields here: mobile AR center point height offset from table and offset from floor. What that means is that when you detect the plane of the floor or the ground or the table, that's going to set, it's basically saying like, okay, that's the plane, and then I'm going to go a certain height above that, and I'm going to place the center of my scene or my swarm right there. So the 0, point of my scene is 0.6 meters up off the ground. So in the instance of this graph is 1 meter tall. So I can see that from here. So 1 meter wide, 1 meter tall, 1 meter deep. And that's by default. We always start with 1 meter, and that actually works really well. So I recommend that 1 meter by 1 meter, one meter like mentality to stick with you. And so what that means is that the 0, point is right here. And one easy way to always check this is just to add a text object. So here I'm just making 0, and then I'm going to reset its position so that it is exactly in the middle. So that is the center of the scene in some sense. And so when I go ahead and recenter, it's going to put that 0, 0.6 meters up. So what that means is that if I want this to be flush with the floor, I could actually make this 0.5 and save this. And so now when I go in to share this one, and what I'm going to do is actually share my screen the old-fashioned way on my phone. So just a second while I get my phone to stream over here. All right.
They're swamped right in
Okay.
the middle.
So what I'm going to do here is on my phone, I'll open up my camera and let me just open up this link. So if I open up the QR code, I can just scan the QR code of that flow itself to open up the flow onto my phone. And I'm just going to bring this a little bit over to the side so you can see. So right now, if I push the next button, it will progress through the visual like you normally see. But this little button in the lower right, that's the AR button. When I tap that AR button, it will open up a remote session. And by default, it will load directly in front of you. So when I said I loaded it so that 0, or that it should run flush, when I recenter now, recenter on the ground, you'll see how it's now flush with the ground. And so that is because of the attributes I added at the end. And I'm just going to play this all the way through so we can see it a little more clearly and walk around it. But the so that's the height off of the floor. And what that also means is that I can also put this onto a table or desk, things like that. And so that's actually a really powerful mechanic to know where you're placing the object in your space, because that definitely influences it. So one other thing while I'm on it, since I'm in this scene, is the ability to do what we call on rollover. And when I'm selecting here on the graph, you'll see these little on rollover text. There's a small bug we need to address with that additional line you see. But the on rollover text works quite well, where you can just tap anywhere on the screen to pull up some additional information about the dot you're selecting. So I'll go more into that. But before I do, any questions so far about, let's stop sharing this.
Yeah, Stephen has a question, Michael. He's saying, which button was that made it AR?
Oh, sure. So it's the in the presentation mode. There's a button. It says it's all the way at the top right. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So the button is in the lower right-hand corner here. So it's the hamburger, then this full screen button, then the chat window, then this share icon, and then a help button, which should explain things a little bit more. And then the AR button. Oops. And so were you able to find that, Stephen?
Yeah, I think the next thing is I got to find presentation mode on mobile. So I'll look for that.
It should just be the play button. Yeah, so it should just be the play button and then followed by the AR button after that. Now, the one thing on,
okay.
Yeah, and so the one thing on iOS is that, and it should come up by default, is that Safari. So Safari's notorious for taking a while or not implementing WebXR support yet, but it's en route. But in the meantime, what you'll notice if you open up on an iPhone in Safari is that when you click the AR button, that AR button will open up this link instead. It's saying that the AR is not supported yet on basically on Safari, but that this other app called WebXR Viewer, which is basically just another app or a browser by Mozilla, similar to Firefox, allows you to actually open these in AR. And so by clicking that button, it's a deep link to open up the WebXR Viewer or WebXR Player, which is this Mozilla browser, and that allows you to then go into AR mode successfully and go from there to presents, etc. So that is sort of the ins and out a bit of that process. And let me go ahead and stop sharing here. Okay, great. Okay, so now we've sort of presented, or I've gone through as if I was like the presenter, but let's actually switch roles now, or actually maybe go through a role where I'll start out as a presenter and you guys can be the camera people. But what I would ask is if everyone can actually grab their cell phone, we'll actually go through one here that's just on the featured flow page that's a little smaller. And that way we can all sort of be in this one together. So I'm just going to start with, let's do. We're going to do baby time analysis. Yeah. Okay. So this is a more fun one here, but what I'll do is, so from my side, on my computer, I'm going to pretend that this computer scene is my, me as my avatar self, basically. And so what I'm going to do is the first step is I need to start a meeting. Because I am the host of the meeting, I want to control the assets that you click and you see. And so by clicking on the Meet button, I can then start a new meeting. And so when I start a new meeting, what you'll notice is on the top here, the URL actually updates. So it's a different URL, one that does -M and then a 6-character code. And so essentially I just need to give that code to you guys. And so there's a few ways to do that. One of which is just to click the meeting button again. And I have this URL, the with the unique 6-digit code at the end here. And I can paste this into the chat window. And so you guys can join me by clicking on that. Or if you have your phone, which is the preferred method here for AR, if you can point your phone to this QR code, that will essentially manually type in that URL. And so by typing in that URL, you'll enter the live meeting space. And that's sort of step one in terms of being able to then go in to record in AR. And I will pause here for just a moment while people join, and let me know if you guys have any issues getting into this. And if you are on a Safari, be sure to hit that AR button. And so it will ask you to download WebXR Viewer, and that might take just a minute or two to go through. Okay, what was that, Kent? Kent, did you have a question? Nope. Okay. Okay, cool. So I see quite a few people in here. Very cool. So if you're on on phones, so it looks like Jake is definitely in AR mode. And I think what's kind of cool is that there is a one-to-one relationship between the phone's movement and the movement in real life. And so if I see someone move their phone 1 meter this way, in my scene, it will also move a meter that way. And I think that one-to-one relationship is kind of fun. And there's been a few presentations where someone forgot something upstairs, and that you could see them running, up the stairs, and you see the phone and the virtual space moving in your world in real time. Is kind of cool to really see that one-to-one relationship, which we don't really see that often in our virtual worlds anymore. So. Any questions so far in getting into this? Anyone need help getting into this live meeting? Okay, great. So here I am as the presenter. Essentially what I will do often is I stand on the opposite side of the information. So here I am on the opposite side of the information, and I typically present from here. And the key is that because I am the presenter, when I click the next button, it will update for everyone. So now everyone is able to see that we move to the next step. And you'll notice that my position changed here in the virtual space, but it only changes when I'm presenting on a flat screen like this. If I'm in AR or VR or any XR mode, the camera will not move your position. And so essentially I can go through this whole presentation and give the presentation. This one doesn't have interactions on it, but on flows that have interactions, you can enable clicks so that you can click on a dot to pull up additional information, highlights, all sorts of other things like that. So that is sort of step one here. So let's actually switch roles now. And let's just have a few people actually go through this process from their end, and we will go in to record them. So do I have any volunteers to be our AR host for today? And we will all be your video person. Okay. Can I pick on you, Stephen? Oh, you have 9:30 hard stop. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if for 5 minutes, I'm happy to give it a go.
No, I think it probably will take longer than that, most likely, or there's a high likelihood it goes over. But before you have to go, let me make sure you just see one last thing here, which is, let me share my screen this way. So how we're actually recording these today is important, where it will be changing in the future, but the way we actually record is pretty simple. It's really a screen recording. And so this is changes depending on the device you have, but for iPhones, it's pretty simple. It's something you can set up in the settings, but when I scroll down from the top, I can actually go in to record directly. The one sort of trick here is that instead of just clicking on the screen record button, if you click and hold, you will then open up this dialog and you can turn on the microphone. So turning on the microphone is important so that you can capture your audio while you're presenting. And so we recommend that you do this not only on the phone that you are going to be presenting with, but also the camera person's phone. So you have two phones, both recording screen shares that way. On Android devices, there's numerous apps to download for that purpose. So you can actually go through the recording. So why don't we have maybe Bill, if I could recruit you to start a meeting, not necessarily from your phone, but from the computer, and then we can join your meeting and go from there. Or actually, let me do this one other way, because this is actually helpful too. So there's another way to do this, which is that in this live meeting, me as a host, when I click this hamburger icon, I pull up everyone that's in the meeting and can basically go through different options for each person. So Junhai, I can also make a presenter. So now he is a presenter, and I no longer see the next and back buttons because now Junha has control. So Junha, I'm not sure if you're still there. If you could click the next button for us. I just made you a presenter for right now, so that you should see the next and back buttons. Do you see those on your screen? I apologize. I'm not sure if I was sharing my screen a different way there, but anyways, the little hamburger icon over here. So yeah, he's updating his position or the scene essentially to move to the next step. And so this is another way you can basically pass it off to someone else. So instead of starting a whole new meeting, I can just click on someone and make them a presenter. I'm just going to go ahead and take back presenter rights for myself. And the reason being is just to show a few other things, one of which is enable interactions. So enable interactions is something that needs to be set for every avatar. By default, when the presenter clicks on a dot, and I don't think this has any on-click information, unfortunately, but for ones that have on-select dialogues, like a overlay text that comes up or other things like that, by default, when the presenter clicks a dot, it shows up for everyone. But when you click a dot, it doesn't show up for everyone because you're a participant. However, if I have this enable interactions on for you, then everything you click will show up for everyone. So it's sort of allowing you to selectively say, here are the people I want to be able to click on things so that everyone can see them, as opposed to when you have hundreds of people in a room, you don't necessarily want everyone's click to register so that everyone sees everyone else's click. Would just be a little overwhelming. Cool. So any questions so far on what I've gone through and sort of the process of recording? I will say that all of this is, we have documented more and more of this into our help desk and have a quick user guide to get people started. Work on some videos too. Yeah, go ahead, Ken. Sorry, Kent, did you have a question? Okay. Okay. So yeah, what questions do you guys have? I know I sort of have jumped through this relatively quickly here, but hopefully covered a decent amount of grounds for how to record these. It's cool seeing Jake and these other phones moving around. I like that. Go ahead. Thanks, Stephen. Can we access an Oculus? You can, yeah. So that is a great additional topic. So let me pull up one video here on my side. Sorry, just a moment. Okay. So I'm gonna just go to show this, and let me wait till this. Okay. So the main reason to show this is I'm happy about this technical feat where essentially I am wearing an Oculus headset presenting live in a meeting, and you'll see there's about I think like 10 people here joining from their phone, on headsets, or just on their computer. And the basically, because this is all WebXR, it all runs from the browser. It doesn't matter what device you run it from. And the Oculus is a great one to do. Now, the one quote unquote trick, I guess, to make sure to keep into account when you go into VR as the means of presentation is that by default, let me go back here into the editor. So by default, if I go into settings and advanced, there is a button, or there's a number here called scale in VR. And so scale in VR, basically everything in the VR scene, we scale the world up by 3x. And the reason being is that for the most part in VR, you can move anywhere, and typically the feeling is more of like moving through space. And so having larger objects sometimes can be helpful for that. So that's something to account for. However, in this presentation, I needed it to be a one-to-one relationship so I could physically walk around my room without hitting things, basically. So it actually is kind of trippy to think that I'm presenting blind, quote unquote, but that I see everyone's virtual avatar exactly where they are in that virtual world, and I can see the content. So it actually was quite comfortable presenting in this manner, which I think was kind of a fun experiment and test to do. So to do that, for anyone that wants to go into headsets, the process is the same. So you just go to the Oculus browser, so the main web browser in the Oculus, and the hardest part about this process for joining on headset is that typing in a URL is kind of a nightmare. And so we recommend you go to a.flow.gl. So a.flow.gl. And then from here, and usually you'll not be logged in. So from there, log in. And once you log in, then you'll have access to all the flows you created, as well as any featured flows or ones that are shared with you. So as you start collaborating with more people or start building more, there will be more shared flows that are private and shared with you. And so you can have access to those that way. And so from there, you just click onto the flow and open it. But for a live meeting, you'll need to enter a code. And so if I go back to one of these flows, I'll just start this one and start a meeting from here. So if I meet and start a new meeting, this is now live, or this is a live meeting again, but on a headset, if I wanted you to join on headset, like right now, it's difficult to scan that QR code because there's nothing for you to do that with. Although for the HoloLens, the Microsoft's HoloLens 2 does actually have QR code scanning built in. You just have to get like really close to the QR code, and then a little button will appear and you can click it, and that opens up the Microsoft Edge browser to drop you into the experience. But because you can't scan this from the Oculus headset, we have this 6-digit code. In the future, we are going to try to get it to just be numbers, because we know typing in characters is actually kind of annoying in VR too. But the process right now is entering those 6 characters. So you'll be in headset, and when you go to a.flow.gl, there is a join a meeting. And from here, I can enter that meeting code directly. And so when I click that and click join, now it's going to drop me into that live meeting. And I should be in there twice now. So that's essentially the process to join on VR or any headsets. highly recommend people try that if you have not, especially for multi-user sessions. I think it really is incredible when you see the other person there with you while you're presenting. That sense of presence, I think, is something that, we'll recognize our avatars are not super pretty yet, but something we'll continue to evolve and improve. And that sense of presence will hopefully grow, but that, our main focus has really been on the content to date. So let me pause there, see what other questions you guys have, whether VR or AR related. I think my headset's over here. I can bring one up. It might just take a minute to open. But yeah, what other questions do people have? So PNG or SVG to represent a data point and specify the one-to-one dimensions of the image. I'm not sure about the dimensions, but yes, you can change the data point. It's actually more recent that it's been changed. And let me actually open this one, since I actually did do a different texture on the dots. So how I'm interpreting your question, Owen, is the each of these dots you see has a little bit of texture on it. It looks.
I don't think you're sharing your screen right now, Michael.
Thanks. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Sorry about that. So the each of these dots has a texture. You see it looks a little bit more 3D as opposed to just a single dot. And so the way we can do this is more recently we added something called image shape. Now, this is only available if you go into advanced mode. So if you're in the simple UI, you won't see that. But if you click on the three dots here and click into advanced, you'll see some other components here, of which image shape is a component. Now, we sent out access to our shared demo media folder, which we highly recommend. And so we have these different objects that are called dot textures. So if you go into dot textures, you'll see these as like some basic ones to select from. So if I switch this over to like the coin as an example, you'll then see this whole thing look like a bunch of coins that are stacked up on one another as opposed to dots. So the limitation here is that you can only load one PNG for the whole swarm. You can't have a different PNG or a different texture for like every categorical variable, or have that be a variable in and of itself. We recognize that will be definitely happening in the future, but for right now, that's sort of the limitation there. So does that answer your question, Owen, or was there some yeah, does that answer your question?
So if you had multiple swarms in your flow, you could have a separate image, dot image for each of those swarms. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing we're working on is this ability to add links into a flow. And why I bring that up is that if we can one day be able to pull back dynamic information for the swarm dots, that the swarm dot itself could be an image. And I bring that up because this is one visual where when you click on a dot, you'll see an image appear in the overlay text. And this image is actually being rendered or being pulled directly from a website. It's not loaded into Flow beforehand. It's actually a URL address. And then we are dynamically loading that when you click on the dot, as well as this link where you can actually listen to the podcast. This is the Voices of VR flow where I just plotted out the difference, all the episodes. And so if you could imagine that, in the future, instead of these being a dot, but that each dot is actually the image here, we recognize that as a great feature. Haven't fully prioritized it yet, but if that might be more of something you're after or looking for. And so we have a means by including it in the overlay text, but that's without that, we don't have the ability to update each individual dots unless you update all of the dots, basically. Cool. what other questions, or Bill, is there anything I should make sure to cover that I have not covered yet?
Yeah, I don't think so. You did point out that on our help center, I believe you pointed out on our help center, we do have an AR video guide. It's about a 5-page guide, and it gives you the instructions on how to make AR videos. And we have quite a few people around the world now who are doing this on their own. So it doesn't take rocket science to do these with the technology that's available in Flow and on your phones.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's been really cool I started to put that together. I should really show this because I built this like a couple weeks back actually now. But just to take a quick look at some of the AR flows I've been seeing out in the wild, people posting, and yeah, it's just really cool to see what people are creating. And like TF1, which is a big broadcast station in France, is using us. So, I think the AR videos it's definitely, how do I phrase it? Early in the sense that we're still doing the screen recording. We recognize some of the things we need to enhance, but it's pretty powerful, and it seems to really resonate when people can see the person and empathize with the storyteller, in addition to seeing the actual dots and the data itself. Now, the one additional thing I forgot to mention here, and you can sort of see it on this picture from Avery, is that while we have plane detection in our AR mode where we detect the floor, we are not detecting walls and limiting your space. So what that means is that when you are presenting, that's the dots will go through the wall. And so you don't want to stand in front of your content, but always stand behind it for now. So you'll want to be behind the content instead of in front of it, because you will not obfuscate the content. So if you put your hand in front of the camera lens, it won't look as if you're blocking the AR scene. But instead it will just look like your hand is behind the scene. So that can break people's sort of mental model. So that will change over time as obfuscation becomes more possible in WebXR and some of the other technologies there. But in the meantime, that's sort of an important consideration for as you're filming, where to stand and how to present that way. Yep. All right, what other questions?
C. Yang has a quick question, Michael, regarding types of visualization models.
Yeah, and hope you're doing well. I know we are meeting a while back. We had a family emergency come up, so happy to reconnect at some point. But so how many visualization models Flow has? So we, I'd say, how do I answer this? So I've actually gone through and codified all of the different chart types that we can handle, and then the ones we can handle like somewhat well. And I think the list is around 30 or 40 different visualization types that we can do. And the reason I'm not giving a very specific number is that in many ways, how we are showing data today is a little different than many methodologies that look more towards, I click this button and I get a pie chart, and I click this button and I get a bar chart. Instead, our platform is a little more primitive right now. So if I put a scatter plot here, just in this one scatter plot, I can create a whole multitude of different visualizations from it. So the scatter plot is sort of a very basic way to represent this XY pattern, but that's, I can actually do quite a lot here. So I can add in the height axis for population. I can add in connections to connect that back down to the map. But that, it doesn't have to end there, that when I extend this out, there's actually quite a lot you can do. And we haven't gone into it yet, but one of the really powerful areas here is actually additional dimensions where you can start to set up basically these different 3D chart types. Some of my favorites these days include this cylinder chart, which I can explain a little bit more at a different point here, but I'll just to, I'm not gonna mess around with that one. But yeah, the number of chart types is quite large, but I'd say it's way more primitive right now than it is for like a wizard, more or less, feel of creating these graphs. It's something we recognize, and we actually have a larger task that we're working on to help sort of document that process. But yeah, that that you can do essentially anything you can imagine. You can pretty much create, just a little bit more manual now, as long as you just put the dot locations. So hopefully that answers that. Cool. So I know we're about at time here, and I'm not sure if the other breakout room, I think the other breakout room is still possibly going. But yeah, so let me just open it up for any last questions here. Otherwise, Bill, is there anything specifically you want me to make sure to touch upon to close things out?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't have anything else. Someone else early in the session, if we cover the same topics each time, and we do make an attempt to cover a diversity of topics, and this is the 15th topic we've covered. So we have 2 of these going each week, and each time we cover a separate topic, and we post the videos. Maybe Sarah, could you describe where the videos are posted for, in case people want to access some of the prior sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. I can really quick just share screen. This was something that I was doing in my breakout room, sorry. If you just go to a.flow.gl, and on the very top, there will be a tab that says documentation, and that will take you to our help center, where you can access any different guides or search for specific thing like maps, and get kind of a step-by-step guide on how to do certain things. We can also access our playlist of previous training videos, which is here under videos, and that'll take you out into our YouTube channel, which has a playlist of all of our previous videos.
And on those, the more recent ones, we're trying to do a cleanup, or not cleanup process, but to put a table of contents in all of them as well, so that they're more searchable, and you can more easily click around to the different sections of what you're more interested in. So hopefully that helps navigate through, so you don't have to watch all 45 minutes. And then we also have another playlist that is more short content, so like 5-minute clips of creating something. And so anyways, we're going to keep trying to add more and more. Pretty much the second you guys let us know if you want something, we add it into a list, and we're constantly sort of updating and adding more and more. So yeah, keep it coming.
Yeah, that would be great. And I'm a paid subscriber. Can you, if you have that kind of status, can you also plan one-to-one sessions?
Yeah, we can.
Or just that we are okay.
Yeah.
Or just sending you data and you can play with it or something, or playing together with it, something like that. So that you add it to the list, or that is not.
Yeah.
What it is meant for.
Is your question around? Do you, as a subscriber, have the ability to create like a multi-user flow that other people can click?
For instance,
can
look at, learn from it, maybe comment on that, whatever.
Yep. So the comments ability is not there yet. So the dual interaction for asynchronous is not there. But for a live meeting, you can create a live meeting as a subscriber and invite someone in to click around with you, or send them the link, and they can sort of click through them themselves. So that's the limitation right now, but the commentary that they have would need to be captured either on an email or something else. It's not built into the platform yet.
Okay, Great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, yep, go ahead.
Sorry, Paula here. One question. I was really, I came here because I really want to check out the product. I believe that you guys were giving out free sessions, and anything free I'm going for right now. But I first knew about this because I saw videos of you, I guess, promoting it, for lack of a better word, on TikTok. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I started having ideas of how to use it myself and just like play around with it. I wish I could say it was for professional use, but not right now. Not yet, at least. But one of the ideas that I had, I was talking earlier with Sierra about basketball analytics. One of the other ideas I had was, what if it was possible to play around with the video side of things? And I just want to confirm, is it an app that you would have to record through so that you can visually represent yourself like that with the data? Because I was thinking, like, what if I record myself with the drone?
Got it. So the AR recordings leverage your camera, your phone to basically calculate positions of the scene or the world around you, and then place the objects or the flow in that scene. And so as you move around, it stays stable because it's sort of attached to a place. So you could attach it to a drone, but it would need to be your cell phone attached to the drone, not the drone camera. Okay, since pretty much every other camera is just a dumb camera that doesn't really know where it is. But your phone is sort of tracking where it is in space based on what the camera sees, or in the iPhone's case, it's both what the camera sees and the LiDAR sensor also sees. And so these are just getting better and better, which is really cool to see the progression. But that's sort of the limitation there in terms of drone. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I always point to the example of I'm still waiting for the day that someone like goes up in a helicopter and sees like a giant flow that's like city size. I think that'd be awesome, you know. I don't know. But exactly. So I always bring that up whenever someone, because some of our engineers want more limits on things so that people don't go out of the limits. And I always point to that one as like, well, we can't limit the size of these flows, how big someone wants to go. So if they want to go city size, I want to see it. So yeah. So anyways, hopefully that helps on that. And happy to help out in any way to make sure you guys are successful and start seeing more videos out there. It's been crazy to see just how far they've reached, and it's cool to see that it reached you.
Thank you. Yeah. So these sessions are different weekly or daily? Because I know
daily. So tomorrow will be different too.
Okay, cool.
We do 2 each week on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right. Well,
Great.
thank you guys all for joining today, and we'll post this online, but appreciate everyone joining. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
I have a quick question if someone has a second.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah. So on these flows on the background, I see the kind of the flow bug in the corner in the background. Is there an opportunity to put like our institution or University of Kansas School of Nursing to like change that kind of artwork inside of a flow?
Yep. So we do that on so for our enterprise customers, you can sell like a white label. You can get rid of the flow logo and put your own. Or if you're unwilling to if there's no budget for paying for that, then we can, basically we have a little bit of code we can add in where you can basically have the flow logo plus your logo underneath it. Yeah. Okay. And that I could show you how to do that if unless you want the more white label option.
Well, this is really cool, but it's definitely something, my bosses are, 65 years old. So I would probably need to pay for it myself and then show them show them why we need it. So before we get the institution to invest. No,
it's you guys are pioneering. It's awesome to see this level of energy and enthusiasm, and we face that all the time. You know, I present, part of why we live today is because we lived through that experience of presenting VR to execs and selling VR to execs. How do you do that? You have to show the flat screen stuff too. It's got to work there. You know, people are not always going to want to jump in a headset, and you just have to accept that not everyone is going to. But when they see people, like people's responses, the engagement, all these metrics, you know, it really starts to fly off the shelves that way. So I'd say stick with it. But you know, sometimes I think I've learned that the cool, or the what I think is really awesome about the VR aspect, not everyone is as like excited as me, and so I try to temper that down whenever showing someone else, and yeah, emphasize sort of the other aspects of it and not just the cool tech part of it, I guess. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to take up your whole entire day, but do these what is the resolution of, like, if I do an AR flow? Is it 1080p or is it 4K or what?
It's whatever size your screen is.
Okay.
So it adapts resolution to the aspect ratio and size of your screen. So in my case, I have a 4K screen and my flow is looking 4K. So it's it's actually really cool when you get higher resolution on that side.
I have a quick question too. I work with Dan, and one of the things that we're looking at is how does the like how dynamic, like those dots that we saw, if they were going from one hospital building to another, for example, or like how does the spread of the virus flows? Are we able to do that through your software, through Philo? Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good example that shows movement like that, but it's actually been sort of a big thing I've been into lately. Let me think of an example here. So in a very general sense, when you see survey responses, typically you see the aggregate percentage most of the time. You get survey results back, and here's the percent they answered this way, here's the percent that answered that way. And one thing I've been sort of experimenting with more lately is that each dot is actually the respondent. And so there's a one-to-one match between how many people responded and the dots you see. And I can't quite quantify it yet, but for whatever reason, it feels way more meaningful. And it feels more like you can click on any dot and you'll see the person that responded. Like, this is a 22 to 25-year-old travel agent that's making 40K a year. And you can click around and sort of explore that way. But I think what you're pointing out is the movement of people going from one state to the next. And you're sort of seeing that here. It's on a scatter plot, so it's not on like moving locations like you're describing, but it's definitely possible. I am a huge advocate of it. And basically what you need is a column that says, like, here is the state one of, like, all right, I'm in step one, I'm going to be in this state or this location. And then step two, I'm in this other location. So the name of the hospital is the next one. And then essentially all you need to do is between steps, just change which column it's looking at. And so then you'll see that dot move from its current position to the new position. So, yeah, I actually, sounds like what you're working on is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
not only just between the bars, but within like the geography. So with the map that I saw in my breakout room, like when you move from like University of Kansas over to University of Missouri or Truman Hospital, like what is that? How many dots move over that way because they're transporting a patient, or they're going over there to have they're doing surgery over there or something like that. So I just wonder, like, if that just superimposing what I just saw onto a map, but even like 3-dimensionally into the building, yeah. I
don't know about the 3D into the building yet, unfortunately, but we can move those dots into the correct place on the map and stack them or put them out on wide, or just put them all into one spot. So that's definitely feasible, and happy to go further into that. But the process is essentially the same. It's just you need to mark the column of, basically think of each row as a person. So that's the individual dot. And then the column is sort of what the step number, in some sense, of like which position they're going from and to. And then you can move them around as much as you want. And that's a really cool idea.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I think we're about at time here, and I got to jump to another meeting anyways, but it's really awesome to meet everybody, and look forward to connecting again. And Bill will be teaching us tomorrow. So thanks, everybody.
Hey, thanks everybody for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.